I am the one who the media rigged the election so that you would elect me ahead of the other five and ignored the other 96 people who were running. Yes, I am the media made controversial elected mayor. And you see, when the city of Toronto appointed me politically the mayor, even though I knew that the city could not legally make me mayor, I knew that you as a city was looking for this type of non-service. Kevin Clarke, my opponent in the Supreme Court of Canada, since he legally stopped me 15 months ago, 2 days before I was required by Ontario law to legally secure the office of mayor. Now, I was served by the courts, and you know, being a former federal member of parliament, I knew that under the Canadian law, that Canada was founded on the supremacy of God and the rule of law. But you see, I'm not a Canadian. I am a Chinese mayor. So, you see, I don't have to have no respect for Canadians and no respect for the rule of law. But I'm telling you, in Toronto, Ontario, China, with me, illegally appointed mayor, who was brought to court and legally contested, my election was legally contested on behalf of you, the people. Even though I was served, I used your city lawyers for 15 months to defend me. And what I also did was I told my media buddies not to tell you that I was not legally your mayor under Canadian law, because as long as that legal proceeding that Mr. Clarke started in the Supreme Court of Canada, sorry, in the Superior Court of Ontario, within the 90-day legal limit, that prevented me from legally securing the office of mayor, and also made me the first person in Canadian history not to fulfill the provincial requirement. But my media friends, my friends in the city clerk's office, they didn't tell you about the most historical, legal, political challenge in Canadian history. And even though, over 14, 15 months later, I ended up in the Supreme Court of Canada as the defendant and the city on the docket 41436, and naturally, if there's a legal that's in the hands of 9 judges of the Supreme Court of Canada, then naturally I can't legally be mayor with a legal proceeding, still active in the court of law. Because naturally, if there is a legal proceeding, then I legally can't be mayor. And if there's no legal proceeding, then I could have legally become mayor. But in reality, docket 41436 is in the hands of the 9 judges of Canada's highest court. That means that disproved anything that my media friends told you and I told you about legally being the mayor. And it shows that Mr. Kevin Clarke and the Canadian rule of law overrides anything that my media friends told you. But again, even though the Supreme Court of Canada is now debating whether to have me forfeit the office of mayor for being elected illegally, and even though, yes, they can make me legally mayor, but we know that's not going to happen, because you know that I was elected in an illegal election. How do you know? Because of the things I've done for you. Take a look at this. This is Toronto Community House. Look at the beautiful gifts I give to you. People don't have to go outside no more to cut up each other with glass, with knives, or whatever for violence. Because you see, these broken glasses, they have been here for nearly a week. And you see, the beauty of this is that half these units on that side are occupied by children. We have to teach the children about how you would feel when you were cut up like broken glass. Imagine if I had had cleaners in Toronto community housing. Imagine if I had used this $3.1 billion that was given to Tory and all the money that was left over. Imagine if I didn't funnel that through to my friends and my associates. Imagine if I used it to make better services for the people. Then kids wouldn't be able to have the opportunity to know what it feels like when you get stabbed in the gut with a shattered piece of glass, or when you step on it when your parents ask you to take out the garbage. So you see, as you can see here, it says, gosh, very sad. See, this, see, wet floor. This sign would be no good. As you can see the red there. If I didn't leave these shattered glass here for over a week, with no cleaners couldn't clean this 21-story building at 4301 Kingston Road, even though we're paying cleaners to clean it. But naturally, if it's been here a week, we know that there's no cleaning and removal of the garbage. But you see, there's a purpose. Look at that wet floor. You see, we need the kids and those who are coming to take out garbage to cut themselves all over this broken glass, because if they didn't, what purpose would this red be? That red is to show that the floor is wet with blood all over. That's the type of service you need. See, when my opponent in the Supreme Court, Kevin Clarke, tell you that it was clear that I was a media-made mayor because all I give is lip service. All I do is attend festivals and things where I can have a happy, joyous time while you, the people, live in pain, shame, and disgrace. Take a look at all these discarded baby diapers. Look at all these food waste. Kevin Clarke will tell you that this is a disgrace and this is all these cockroaches. But you see, kids need protein. These are poor people. They can't afford to go to the store and get meat. They aren't getting the protein they need. So if we didn't leave this garbage to the point to where the cockroaches and the mouses will take over, imagine that. These kids will have no protein. But you see, now they don't have to go out and steal or do anything or go out and work so that they're going to be able to get their protein from their meat, because we have an abundance. This is what you need in the city. You don't need to see that your poor people are just eating vegetables, macaroni and cheese, and pasta. I'm Olivia Chow. This is what you need. Protein for your kids, but I give you more than that, because when all the rodents come from all this discarded waste that's been sitting there over the weekend and right through Monday, but don't worry. You see, we are looking out for some people in the city too, because we did pay a bunch of cleaners not to clean this. And you see, at least now, they don't have to end up, getting to the point where they could have been sick or whatever, because they have to clean out these garbage. We didn't pay them all this money so that they can get sick and do the work of cleaning these garbage. They'll get sick. You don't want your garbage men to empty and clean the garbage. You want to leave the garbage there, and you want to pay them not to remove it, because if you let them remove it, how could the children get all this protein? Look at all this protein that is crawling up there. So when parents give kids chores and have them take out the garbage, the kids can go back and say, hey, Mom, look, we got some of these cockroaches we can cook and we can have a delicacy. We can have some protein and some meat tonight. So don't listen to my opponent in the Supreme Court of Canada when he tells you that I am not fit to be mayor because I was elected by the media. Because you see, if we don't have all these disgusting, unhealthy situations, how would people who have breathing issues, how would they end up in the hospitals? We would have so much empty hospital beds. You see here, now you know that your hospital beds would be filled. And with all the large amount of seniors that are living here, you know when they get older, their health is more vulnerable. So you have to remember, we have to see that our hospitals will stay full. We have to see that kids are able to realize and feel the pain when you get cut up and stabbed, because that's the type of city we want. Hey, so this has been here right over the weekend. In reality, probably been here a little longer, but remember this. When the hungry people come and they need food, at least they don't have to go down that garbage chute to go and chase for that food. It's right there in front of them. So you see, I am seeing that your tax dollars, because that's what we're supposed to do. Government is not supposed to take care of the people. Government must see that the people understand what it's like to live in filth, disgust, and decay. Because if they didn't live this way, how could I live in the luxury I do? Don't listen to this guy. This guy, Kevin Clarke, it's like the media has blocked him. He's a 7-time mayoral candidate, 10-time provincial fight. Come on, take a look at this. You need this. What? New shoes, they're still perfectly white. You need to know that your shoes are being used. And hey, how I would need to go buy so much bleach, so much pine salt, and clean your houses if you didn't have to go through this just so you can get home. So don't listen to my opponent in the Supreme Court of Canada when he highlights these things and saying that a mayor should see that whoever is managing or whoever is in charge, that this is done. Listen, come on. People wouldn't be able to know that they still have their nose and their smelling scent if we didn't have all this urine here. And imagine this guy trying to tell you that this is not good for the people of the city of Toronto. Kevin Clarke is nuts. It's crazy. Come on. Imagine all the amount of contractors who are living in $1 million houses. If we had maintained this place and all this rusty urine wasn't there, all the urine stains wasn't there, oh my goodness, they'll probably be living in $700,000 houses. But hey, when the urine erodes all the paint and erodes everything here, hey, at least they can maintain their $1 million house because we can hire them to come and to redo it. But you have to remember though, we have to let the rust fall apart. Because when it's all rusted out and then somebody ends up falling through the stairs, then we can justify asking the federal government, the provincial government for more money. And you have to remember, when we paid contractors less than 6 months ago to paint and do all the stairwells, we could have had them remove all the rest, but hey, they wouldn't have no work to do. Once summertime comes, they wouldn't have to redo over what they did. So don't listen to my opponent, Kevin Clarke. This is how you need to live in Canada's largest housing corporation. This is how. This is what it is. Because remember, if they weren't living in this condition, they wouldn't end up in the hospital. They wouldn't end up on drugs. They wouldn't end up with mental illness. They wouldn't end up sick. They wouldn't try and go and steal and all that to try and get out. See? Look at this. See the urine went right through paint. That urine, all the goobers. There you go. And when they all get sick, I can talk to my buddy Doug see, I am working for you. I am Olivia Child. I am working to see that people in the Amherst community stay where they're at. Because if they don't stay where they're at, they might end up in the house beside you. This message is authorized by Olivia Child's Supreme Court Canada campaign to try and say she is total mayor. You see, this is how people are supposed to live. Okay.